What's up guys, Zami here and you're watching Heavy Metal Pomp. Today I've got another pomade review for you. Today I'm gonna finish my reviews on VAMPH Grooming's products from the Prestige line. Previously we had a look at their clay, and then their unorthodox water-based pomade, and now last but not least we have the Prestige all-base pomade. This is an all-base pomade with a heavy hold, and before I continue, once again I wanna thank Shen for handing me these 3 products. I really appreciate it. This one's for you, bro. While the previous 2 products we looked at had a more modern feel to it, this one has a more classic pomade vibe to it, kind of like a throwback. But anyways, we're gonna take a closer look at the jar right now. And here we have the Prestige all-base pomade. Now one thing that I forgot to mention in the last 2 reviews is that they all come in this beautifully designed black and brown box with gold text, and it looks really stunning. I think it looks amazing. The pomade itself comes in the standard 3.5 ounce amber glass jar, has a similar design to the last 2 products, but this time it comes with red labels. And if you open it up, you'll see a standard looking pale yellow pomade inside. Now just like the clay, the scent for the all-base pomade is a pretty long list. So I've got my phone again. The scent for the all-base pomade is rosewood, mahogany, tobacco, citrus, musk, and slight perfume. And what you mostly get is this citrusy wood type of scent. Normally I'm not a big fan of wood scents. I used to own a goon grease in the cinnamon sandalwood scent, and I literally gave it to a friend just because I didn't like the scent. But for this one, I think the citrus does help me like it a little bit more. I'm not the biggest fan of the scent, but it's definitely not bad. It's definitely got an interesting note to it, and I think a lot of people will actually like it. Scooping it out, despite being a heavy, comes out really easily. Breaking it down does feel really thick, but as you can tell, pretty much nothing to it. Of course, scooping out and breaking down isn't as easy as a light hold, but for a heavy, it really is easy to work with. Going into your hair, of course, it will tug and pull quite a bit, but because it's not an overly waxy heavy, it does go in a little bit easier compared to most heavies. Once again, I can easily get a thick scoop without applying much pressure to it. The scent for this one is pretty strong, and that's something that I've noticed with pretty much all 3 of Shen's brews. But like I said, I'm not bothered by the scent, so it's alright. And even though it's a heavy, you get a good amount of stickiness and slickness to it, which I absolutely love. It's amazing. And even though it's a heavy, you still get a nice medium shine to it, which is another awesome thing about this pomade. I'm just gonna need one more tiny scoop, and I should be good to go. Slicking it back, combs through fairly easily. You feel some resistance to it, but that's just because it's a heavy hold pomade after all. And just like I mentioned earlier, you get really good slickness with this one. Has a nice sticky feel to it as well. I'm gonna style my hair now. Talk to you again shortly. And I think I'm just gonna call that done. So as you can tell, I'm getting pretty good height. My sides are held down really well. Everything's slicked down really nicely, getting a medium shine. And the scent's not super strong, but it's definitely noticeable. So let's talk more about the Prestige all-base pomade. Now when Shen handed me all 3 products, I think the all-base pomade was the one I was most excited to try out. Ironically, it was the one that I tried and reviewed last. And I feel that it's worth the wait because this is definitely my favorite out of the 3. As I've said over and over, I'm a sucker for all-base pomades, and this is definitely an amazing one. You get a strong waxy hold which holds up in the Asian weather really well, but it's also got this slickness and greasiness to it which makes for easier application. All in all, I just think that this is a really well balanced heavy hold pomade. The easiest thing I can compare this to is to Lockhart's Goon Grease. It's not to say it's exactly the same. I feel that this is a slightly more waxier version of Goon Grease. An Asian version if you will. But of course I do have my gripes about the product. I feel that the build-up is a little bit brutal. It's not to say that the build-up is bad, but if you're not used to it, then this might feel a little bit overwhelming. And secondly, I'm not a huge fan of the scent, which I know is a personal preference, so this is really a subjective matter. But at the end of the day, this is still an amazing pomade. Washing it out, I would say it would take about 3 to 4 showers with shampoo. But anyways, final verdict on the Prestige all-base pomade. I give it a 4 out of 5. Once again, I think that this is a really well balanced heavy hole pomade. You get a really good balance between the waxy hole and the slickness, which makes for really good styling. I even dare say that this is the Asian goon grease. I would highly recommend this for people who can't afford international products like goon grease. You don't really have to look far for amazing oil-based products. And as per usual, more details on the blog, link down below. I think that's pretty much it. Hope you liked the review. Do leave a comment down below, subscribe to my channel right here, or you can check out my last video right here. I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.